What if I told you that the deepest spiritual truths aren't hidden away in some ancient holy book, but they're actually written into the laws of physics? Today, we are diving into an idea that connects a philosopher who was cast out for heresy with the incredible mind of Albert Einstein. It's an idea about a God not found up in heaven, but in the very fabric of the universe itself. It all really kicks off with a telegram. Back in 1929, a prominent New York rabbi sends a message to Albert Einstein, and he asks him a very direct question. Do you believe in God? And this was his answer. It wasn't a simple yes or no. Instead, he gives this cryptic reference to a much, much deeper idea of the divine, an idea he credits to a philosopher named Spinoza. So, that's the big question for us today. Who was this philosopher? And what was his concept of God that resonated so deeply with the man who basically decoded the universe? Let's dig in and trace the connection. Okay, so first things first, let's try to get inside Einstein's head for a minute. He wasn't religious, not in the traditional sense. His God wasn't some personal being who answered to prayers. For him, it was this profound sense of harmony and order that he could see woven into the very cosmos. So who was this Baruch Spinoza? Well, he was born in Amsterdam back in the 1600s. His family were Portuguese Jews who had fled persecution. But by the time he was just 23, his own community cast him out. They excommunicated him for what they called his abominable heresies, and Christians condemned him too. So to support himself, he lived this quiet, independent life, grinding lenses for microscopes and telescopes, which is kind of perfect, right? He was literally shaping the way we see the world, while philosophically, he was doing the exact same thing. So what were these abominable heresies that got him basically canceled by everyone? Well, it all boiled down to his radical answer to one single question. What is God? The conventional view of God, the one most of us are familiar with, is of a being who is separate from creation, like a king on a throne who judges us and intervenes. Spinoza's vision? It was completely different. For him, God isn't a who, it's a what. It's an impersonal force that isn't above nature, it is nature. And this right here, this is Spinoza's famous Latin phrase, and it is the key to everything. Deus sive natura. It means God or nature. For Spinoza, these weren't two different things. They were just two words for the exact same single, infinite, self-creating reality. God is the universe and all of its laws. God is the total sum of everything that exists. Now, there's a formal name for this belief. It's called pantheism. It's the idea that God isn't some divine puppet master pulling the strings of the universe. God is the universe. God is in the orbit of the planets, the formation of a star, and the very structure of a single cell. Okay, so we have this radical idea from a 17th century philosopher. But why on earth does it resonate so strongly with scientists, even today? This is where Spinoza's philosophy meets modern physics, and it gets really cool. Well, listen to how someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson breaks it down. In Spinoza's worldview, the sacred text isn't a book. It's the book of nature itself. So every scientific discovery, then, isn't just a discovery about the world. It's like a glimpse into the mind of God. And it's not just him. The string theorist Michio Kaku points to another reason this idea is so compelling to scientists. The universe isn't chaotic. It follows these elegant, simple, and beautiful rules. I mean, all the fundamental laws of physics could probably fit on a single sheet of paper. For physicists, this underlying harmony and simplicity is a direct manifestation of that God of order that Einstein and Spinoza were talking about. And here's where things get really, really strange. Spinoza's ideas pop up again in the bizarre world of quantum mechanics. Physics tells us that on a subatomic level, the very act of observing something changes its reality. This hints at a super deep link between consciousness and the material world, a concept Spinoza was exploring centuries ago, arguing that mind and matter were just two sides of the same coin. But here's the kicker. This line of thinking wasn't just happening in Europe. In fact, Spinoza's radical idea was a profound echo of philosophies that were thousands and thousands of years old. It turns out Spinoza's insight is truly universal. Similar concepts about a single, all-encompassing reality emerged completely independently in Eastern thought. It suggests that different cultures, through completely different methods, were all arriving at the same fundamental truth. I mean, just look at the parallels here, they're incredible. Spinoza talked about one infinite substance. In the Hindu philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, they call this Brahman. In Taoism, it's the Tao. Spinoza saw us as modes or expressions of that substance. Vedanta calls this Maya, the appearance of the many from the one. The core insight is identical. We are not separate drops of water. We are inseparable parts of a single cosmic ocean. Okay, this is all fascinating, big picture stuff, but what does any of this mean for our actual lives? See, this isn't just some abstract theory. Spinoza believed it was a practical blueprint for finding harmony in a world that, let's be honest, often feels pretty chaotic. It's about taking this huge cosmic worldview and translating it directly into a way of being. If we are truly inseparable from a universe that operates on lawful harmony, then our own well-being, our happiness, depends entirely on aligning ourselves with that natural order. A great way to understand this is through the analogy of karma, but not as some kind of divine punishment. Think of it as natural law, like physics. Imagine every action you take, every thought, every intention is like bouncing a ball against a wall. The laws of nature dictate that the ball will bounce back. It's just simple cause and effect. So if you're tired of being hit by the ball, the solution isn't to get better at dodging. The solution is simple. Stop bouncing the ball in the first place. Stop reacting with anger or greed, and the cycle of suffering just slows down. Here's another way to think about it. Life is like a movie. Most of us are completely lost in the drama playing out on the screen. The temporary joys, the sorrows, the conflicts. We are 100% convinced the movie is reality. But wisdom is turning around in your seat and seeing the projector. It's understanding that single beam of light, that one underlying reality that creates the entire show. Once you see the light, you're no longer a victim of the plot. And that really brings us to our final thought. From Spinoza to Einstein, from quantum physics to ancient wisdom, the message is one of unity and order. If the universe truly is a symphony of lawful harmony, a single substance expressing itself in infinite ways, then the most important question we can ask ourselves is this: how do we tune in?